Good day, and thank you for tuning in to this primary election candidate forum for Thurston County Public Utility District Number 3. This forum is presented by the League of Women Voters of Thurston County and TCTV. The League is a nonprofit, nonpartisan political organization that encourages the informed and active participation of citizens in their government. The League registers new voters, studies issues, and advocates for its positions with the legislature. Despite its name, the League is open to both men and women of voting age. I'm Melissa Minharis from the League, and I'll be your moderator for this forum today. The candidates for Thurston County Public Utility District Number 3 are Jesse Conwell, Dennis Pulsifer, and Chris Stearns. Also a candidate for this position is Douglas Swift, who is unable to join us today. For this forum, each candidate will have 2 minutes to present an opening statement, then I'll ask questions in alternating order. The person first asked the question will have 2 minutes for a response. Each of the other candidates will have 1 minute to respond to the same question. At the end of the question period, each candidate will have 1 minute for a closing statement. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. We'll begin with opening statements from you, and we're going to begin with Mr. Conwell.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you, Melissa, League of Women Voters, and TCTV for hosting this forum. I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about myself. My name is Jesse Conwell, and I'm running for a PUD Commissioner in District 3. I was born in Olympia in Thurston County. I've lived here most of my life. I've gotten married here, raised my family here. Both me and my wife think this is an excellent place to live and to raise a family. I started out my career installing utilities and construction, septic, sewer, water, telephone, and over the last 12 years have managed one of the largest water and wastewater systems in the county. Over that time, I've learned what water systems need and what communities want. I think it is very important for our commission and for our PUD that we have people on there that are very knowledgeable about utilities, water, wastewater. It's for that reason that I'm running for PUD Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Conwell. Next, we'd like to hear from Mr. Pulsifer, who is also running for this position.
Thank you. I grew up in rural communities that were served by PUDs, and I appreciate the vital services they provided and the active role that they played in the community. What made the PUD strong were that people in the community took an active interest in serving on boards, on committees, and providing stakeholder input on how to improve service to the constituency. It's vitally important that citizens connect with their PUD. I've been connected with volunteer activities in Thurston County for almost 30 years, having spent 13 years leading teens to cooking for the homeless on a Sunday each month. We've cooked over 30,000 meals. I was a volunteer English as a second language instructor for 5 years for the refugee community. I conducted nursing home outreach for 3 years to the homebound. I have a strong belief in customer service, public service, and I believe that I can make a strong contribution to the board. I bring the right mix of academic and real-world experiences with a master in public administration, over 25 years of financial management and leadership experience at the executive level in public organizations, appraising nationwide public utilities as an appraiser, and having managed a community water system in my residential community. These are vital skills that the PUD needs. I ask for your vote and the opportunity to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pulsifer. Next, we'll hear from Chris Stearns, our other candidate for this position. Mr. Stearns?
Thank you for the League and putting this forum together. I appreciate the emphasis you've added locally in our own local chapter concerning water issues and making policy statements that educate the public further about the use of our water resources in Thurston County. I'm the incumbent. I've served the last 6 years as your PUD Commissioner, and I believe in consistent democratic values in dealing with our customers and with the resources of our county. I have a proven environmental record working as a fisheries biologist, very knowledgeable about water issues, not only in our county, but most of Western Washington, where I've worked over a long period of time. Recently on the PUD board, I've coordinated city and county water staff to provide leadership on the county's sustainability plan regarding water issues through the Thurston Regional Planning Council. I've helped pass and implement a program to help low-income seniors and people with disabilities to pay their water bills at no cost to the PUD through voluntary customer donations like you do on your electric utility bills. Thurston County has the largest number of exempt wells. This is of concern not only to me, but anybody who's interested in water. I'd like to see our county's groundwater resources be better protected and coordinate more of our water resources in the rural areas where we have many single exempt wells. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. I want to remind our viewers again today that there is a fourth candidate for this position, Douglas Swift, who is unable to join us today. That's it for opening statements, and now we'll move on to the questions. Again, we'll go through an alternating order. The first respondent will have 2 minutes to respond to the question, and each of our other candidates here today will have 1 minute to answer that same question. The first question, Mr. Conwell, is for you to begin with. What do you consider to be the main purpose of the Thurston County Public Utility District?
The PUD exists because there's a need for it. The PUD is a water purveyor, and they provide drinking water to thousands of people. It's an issue of public health. This is the reason for the PUD at the moment. It may grow larger, but right now, this is what the PUD does. They have 155 plus water systems that they need to provide good, healthy drinking water for. So that is the reason for the PUD currently. This is what we do, and that's what needs to be done in the future. There may be more, but this is what we do. So that is the reason.
Thank you. Mr. Stearns, what do you consider to be the main purpose of the Public Utility District in Thurston County?
Currently, we are the only PUD utility that only has one utility service. We're a water utility. Our main one for many years has been Tanglewilde, which has been refurbished recently with a new reservoir, and other replacements, including new wells, have been placed there, and that's our largest system. We have taken on a greater role in recovering smaller systems. That's why we have over 150 systems in our county and adjacent counties as well, when we inherited a staff from a private water system that we purchased. Basically, I believe that the PUD is allowed to go into retail service for water, sewer, electricity, and only wholesale without a vote in telecoms or fiber optic. We may pursue the latter option in the future to provide more services to our county residents.
Thank you. And Mr. Pulsifer, what do you consider to be the main purpose of the Public Utility District in Thurston County?
Well, currently the PUD is a vitally important resource in the community by providing clean, affordable drinking water to the community, to less than about 10,000 customers in the community. However, the world's changing around us, and customers in different communities are asking PUDs to look at other business lines. I think at this point, this is a well-run PUD for serving water and providing resource, and it should put a great deal of its resources and focus on that. However, there will be other opportunities that the public will bring forward, and they should be open to considering those. However, they should also keep in mind that there's a cost-benefit analysis that anytime you venture into a new business line, and it's important that they weigh the benefits against the costs of those.
Thank you. Mr. Stearns, this question goes to you first this time. The PUD's various water systems range from a high of 1,784 customers in Tanglewilde to some systems with 5 or fewer customers. With this diversity, how does the PUD go about setting fair rates across the systems?
Well, we have recently initiated a cost of service study, and we are in the middle of completing an asset management plan that will provide us with a strategic plan on how to deal with our cost of service over time. The fairness factor has previously been dealt with in terms of bringing in new systems, what we call whole, which is not allowing dilapidated systems to be paid for by current customers. So the people who are on those systems that come to us that need repairs pay a surcharge to bring their system in at the standards we already enjoy with our other systems, so nobody pays for them. In the future, we are trying to make our rates more consistent inside the county. That's Tanglewilde, along with the other systems we have in Thurston County. The ones outside of Thurston County, we charge more because we have to transport ourselves and spend more time getting to them. And I think they understand that, since they're not assessed as the county residents are on their property taxes.
Thank you. Mr. Pulsifer, how would you think we should be fair in dealing with rates along this diverse line?
Well, I think that it's important to recognize that there are systems and customers outside the county of Thurston County and inside the county. And it is fair to have a separate rate for and between those two groups. One thing to keep in mind is the PUD has the authority to reach out and acquire systems outside the county that are adjacent to themselves. And it makes sense sometimes to do that because you achieve economies of scale. And that's one resource that the PUD can continue to probe, is how they can acquire systems to achieve economies of scale and basically to hold rates down for everybody by lowering their unit costs that are delivered to each one of the customers. So, but also they have to focus on the reinvestment into each one of the systems to upgrade their systems so that each system can have the state-of-the-art or quality infrastructure by holding the costs down. So they're going to have to evaluate those costs for individual systems.
Mr. Conwell, what would you do about rates?
Well, I think the PUD is doing a fairly good job right now in their approach, something that should be reviewed every few years to make sure that we're doing the most we can for fairness. Bringing in systems whole, like Mr. Stern said, is a great idea. This is something that we need to do to be fair. Spreading the improvements around all of the systems keeps the cost down for everybody. That's also something that should be continued. Fairness is a perceived kind of value also. So you might have a system that needs more improvements later. So with the inventory assessment that the PUD has done and the funding for it that hopefully is coming, I hope that the PUD will be able to keep the fairness and the cost down for everyone.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pulsifer, this next question goes to you first. Do you think the PUD's water quality tracking is sufficient? Why or why not?
I'm assuming that when you say tracking, that it's what customers are using, how much water, and whether that's appropriate or not.
Well, it's water quality, the tracking of water quality.
Water quality. Well, the PUD systems, I think in almost all cases, and I'm familiar with this from my own water system, are held to very high standards by the State Department of Health. There's monthly testing, there's quarterly testing, and then there's annual tests for different levels, from the very basic of bacteria tests on each month. So I'm quite confident that the Thurston County PUD is adhering to the standards, and I've seen their documentation of how they carry about their maintenance and their testing. So I think they're meeting the standards, and I think they have a strong interest in exceeding that standards and protecting their customer base to be held to that.
Thank you. Mr. Conwell, your views on the tracking of water quality in the district?
The Department of Health mandates water quality testing yearly for every single water system. So I have no doubt that we are doing the testing in our PUD. However, they are mandating even more tests, disinfection byproducts, total trihalomethanes, haloacidic acids. These are expensive tests, and when you have to do them for every single water system, the testing will go up. So, you know, those are things that probably are accounted for, need to be accounted for. since the cost will go up, we just need to be prepared for that. I believe that we can do an even better job doing it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Stearns.
Water quality, of course, is a serious concern in our county, especially with wells that are shallow. We have some wells that are not as deep as others, especially on our smaller systems. The state has stepped back from regulating more extensively Group B systems below 15 connections. I've worked with the Conservation District. I've been on the Groundwater Advisory Committee for the county in the past. And as associate member of the Conservation District, I believe that managing animal wastes will contribute, better management of animal waste will contribute to keeping our water systems, whether they're PUD or not, safer from contamination from especially biological factors, E. coli and coliform. So I strongly emphasize working together with the resources available in the county and working together with the jurisdictions to try and preserve our water resources as best we can, since we're all reliant on groundwater.
Great, thank you very much. And this is the last of our questions today, and it goes first to you, Mr. Conwell. During your term of office, if you are elected, what would you see as the PUD's principal action items, and which, if any of them, require a change in the water rate?
The main thing that I see for the PUD in the next 6 years is growth. We are going to continue to acquire new systems. We may be called upon to provide broadband. We may be called upon to provide power. These are all challenges that we need to face. And this is what I see as the next few years as the biggest issue that will basically be with our PUD here. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stearns.
On the challenges that the PUD faces right now, replacing our infrastructure with our asset management plan and a strategic plan as to how to do it and how to go about it is first on our agenda, to make sure that the resources the PUD is needing to maintain is properly replaced in a timely manner that gets ahead of operations and maintenance rather than behind it. With a lot of water systems, you obviously need to consider all the infrastructure that's needed and provide a capable way of paying for it. A surcharge is going to be placed gradually on customers so that those systems can be revitalized and be made to wear out in a fashion that doesn't add extra expense to the PUD. When you're behind it, you can't do that, and it ends up costing us more with bad planning.
And Mr. Pulsifer, if you are elected for this office, what would you see as the principal action items in the next 6 years?
Well, I think a couple of them have already been mentioned. One is just protecting the long-term viability of the water system, the PUD as a provider of water resources to the community. And that's establishing as soon as possible replacement reserves and reinvesting in their infrastructure. The PUD is really on the cusp of potential changes that may be occurring with the world around us, and customers wanting the PUD to explore other business lines and activities. So I think it's important that the PUD have a strong board to evaluate those opportunities and determine what the benefits are and whether those benefits truly outweigh the costs and risks associated with it. The public is going to be asking for us to look at that. Also, I think the public is wanting all government agencies, all publicly owned agencies, to focus on enhancing their transparency. So I think the PUD does a very good job, but I think that coming down the road there'll be more opportunities to enhance transparency and provide more information.
Great, thank you very much, gentlemen. And now it's time for candidates' closing statements. First, we'll go in this order, Mr. Pulsifer, Mr. Conwell, and then Mr. Stearns. So you will each have 1 minute for your closing statement. Mr. Pulsifer?
Thank you. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum, and to Thurston County citizens that will invest their time to watch it. The Thurston County PUD plays an important role in our community. I bring a strong background in community service and a real-world work experience, and can make a big contribution to the Board of Commissioners and ultimately in service to you. I'm asking for your vote for Thurston County PUD Commissioner, Position 3. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pulsifer. Mr. Conwell.
Thank you. Over the last few years, we've seen, unfortunately, commissioners get on with no experience. Commissioners take money from PSE. Commissioners quit. I think we deserve better. I think the public wants a public official to have competency and integrity, and that's what I want to bring to our PUD. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Stearns.
Thank you again for the League taking the opportunity to bring more issues about water up front for the public. I think these are important issues that concern all of us. And when people say the PUD doesn't really serve us, what is its importance to our county? Well, keeping our groundwater resources intact is important to every resident of Thurston County, whether you live in a city that provides you with water service, or you live in an unincorporated area, or even a South County town. Everybody in this county is dependent on groundwater. I will work hard to make sure that those resources are kept intact, and I have a proven record in terms of doing that, in terms of my work with fisheries and also working with the Conservation District Groundwater Advisory Committee to continue giving service to our county with knowledge of what the problems are that need to be addressed, and I know them fully for many years of work.
Thank you very much. Well, that brings us today to the end of this forum. I would like to thank our 3 candidates who are here, Dennis Pulsifer, Chris Stearns, and Jesse Conwell, for joining us today, and also remind you that there is a 4th candidate for this position, Douglas Swift, who was unable to be here today. I would like to thank TCTV and the League of Women Voters for making this forum possible. And viewers out there, we hope that when you vote in the August 5th primary election, this information will help you make an informed decision about your candidates. Goodbye, and thank you very much.